Welcome, everybody, to the first episode of the Top Madden weekly radio show. That's just a temporary name. One day we'll get creative and figure out what to call it. But nonetheless, we've got a lot of topics to discuss today, but I'm not talking to myself. I'm joined by a very valuable member of the content team, the league, his second season with Top. Warren, what's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, Finn? Thanks for having me. I'm actually not even a top Madden vet at this point. It's not even been one full year, but I put in a couple good seasons, and I'm looking forward to Madden 20, which is almost what, a day or two away.
Oh, dude, it's so close. I've been trying to get my boys to tell me when it's going to drop, and they keep hitting me with, "Oh, I don't know." Like, you don't know when the biggest game in the entire sports industry is coming out, and you work on it. Okay, but
I'm sure they already have it at this point, but they just
oh,
got to
they do,
keep it on the
they
DL.
do. No. The guy Mole that's playing in the tournament, he's actually like he'll pop up in Discord. It'll say that he's playing Madden 20. So it's just to rub it in everybody's faces. Um, So that leads us right into the first topic, right? Is the Top Madden Invitational, the first one. First off, I owe an apology to P-Town because I was talking to people about this in the background of it all, trying to get it all situated. And then P-Town, like literally, dude, 10 minutes before I sent it to Pest, um, P-Town drops his tournament, the NFC AFC tournament that he wanted to do. And I was just like, oh, P-Town, I'm so sorry. Like, but the Top Madden Invitational. It says 8 minutes. Looks like we're going to go down to 5 minutes, competitive all Madden. We have 20 teams currently and looking for more to join. Double elimination. Yeah, man, big tournament. And there's some killers and from Top, from SML, guys that are trying to join Top from SML, so they get to kind of have their first taste of competition. You got the official Mole, who is a Madden gameplay developer. So he's in the chat, and he's been great answering a lot of questions for some of the guys. I told Alan to get Des Bryant in here. He's not in camp, so what else is he gonna do? So
Yeah, it seems like a good group that I'm happy that it's not just for Top Madden and we're also including the Outcast League and SML. So we're getting more, more people on and it's not just limited to one league. So I think, if we're going single elim or double elim, that's remains to be seen, but there should be a good foundation, give someone a little bit of bragging rights to start off the year.
right, and I put it in the chat before, but there is going to be a $25 Amazon gift card to the winner. So if you do stick it out and even have to run out of EA access and have to buy it again on a burner account, if you win the whole damn thing, you'll get your money back and more. So you got that. Second place is $15, and third place is $10. All Amazon gift cards. So there is something to play for outside of just bragging rights, but we didn't do it without bringing in the killers. I mean, you're there, Pest is there. Thank God Danny's on vacation. Otherwise, I'd be really pulling my hair out. Mole, Mole's very talented. He smoked me in the beta, and he's got like 3 months of game time over everybody else. So, and he wasn't no joke before in the previous cycle. So, is anybody jumping out as a clear favorite to you?
I
Or you
mean,
got
every person, there's no good first round matchup, right? Everyone you get matched up against is going to be good. And I mean, um, it really depends, I guess, on your bracket. Maybe you get a little bit easier of a schedule, if you keep winning. But all in all, I mean, from top to bottom, it looks like it's pretty stacked.
right? I mean, especially if these guys from SML come in and can compete. Automatic was a guy that people have mentioned before.
We can't let someone from SML win.
Really, you think it's on us? You think at the minimum just cheese them to death to get them out early and then leave it to Top and Mole?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what it is. I'd have a hard time, letting someone from SML just come in and win. So if I go out early, I'm gonna, hope someone from top pulls through.
For sure, for sure. I think that the biggest wild card is the random teams. I think too many times in Madden tournaments, people get to kind of pick. I mean, if we had it up to select whatever team you want, we know it would be probably the Chiefs versus the Saints every single game. And I thought that random teams will be great. So we're doing the 3 random teams. You pick from your 3, and if you don't like those 3, you get one more suicide pick, but then you have to take that team. Um, who what kind of teams are you looking at taking? Are you trying to lab? I know you're the Chiefs on top. You're the Bears and SML. Are you trying to lab any specific teams, or are you worried more so about like playbooks and just kind of getting used to the game?
I think a big thing on team selection is just taking the best team available, or even for a lot of people, take the best running team. And maybe because we don't know the ins and outs of this game yet, we're not
Hmm.
going to be able to just move down the field. So it may be, the games may be more low scoring, and you may have to play closer to the vest and just, play, run the ball, play good defense, and just, let your opponent just mess up. I don't think that there's going to be high scoring really at all. So I'm going to, out of my three teams, I'm probably just going to take the one that I know I can kind of coast a little bit and not have to do all the work, opposed to the other way around.
For sure. Taking the top defensive team and then I think running is a good point. I wasn't even thinking that. Just getting a team
Dallas.
that you know you can grind. If you get Dallas, take Dallas the second. Don't even take any two other randoms. Just take Dallas and call it a day from there. Yeah, I think I want to try and I think the quarterback play is most important to me, but obviously like just having the star power on offense, I think I trust my defense enough, and two, I don't think I'm going to be as critical on my defense enough. So I know I'm going to want to get out there and try and score as many points, because what I learned from the beta was just that there's too much about the game to learn in that short period of time. I don't know if that's how you felt, but I just felt like my defense was just getting carved up. So I'm not even worried about getting a good defense. I'm not even worried about trying to game plan on defense. I just want the best possible offense
Just
available.
points. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's true. But also, we have to take into consideration X factors and
right.
the impact that they're going to have. I mean, if you have three teams and two of them may be decent, but the third one has, a superstar defensive tackle, even like a Geno Atkins on the Bengals, will that sway you to, it's pretty much you're doing
Right.
less work, but getting more, out of it because they're making plays for you.
Right. And that's huge not only for the tournament, but for the team selection, which I'm sure we're going to get down to probably at the end of the show here. I think my favorite, I think the obvious favorite for me is Mole, just because he's got so much experience in the game. But if we take him out of the picture, um, I'm going to go with you, to be honest with you. I think one, we were just talking about it before, which is you having Teddy Bridgewater last year. Like you don't rely on your star power. You're patient and you know a lot of playbooks. That's another thing is every time that you've kind of talked to Mole or talked to people about preparing, you've been concerned about playbooks. So I think that has allowed you to kind of, oh, this team has this weapons. Well, I'm used to using this playbook. Whereas before last cycle, I was only really good when I used the Titans playbook, the double running back sets, the big power heavy run game. So that's what I may not use. So if I get a team that can't power run like I was doing with Gurley, I feel like it might be a learning curve. Whereas you mess around, you kind of know all the passing plays. And so you're my favorite, and that's not just because you're on the show with me.
I appreciate that. And it's funny because, when I'm bored at work, I just go on the websites that have the team playbooks and I'll just go through them. And the first thing I do every year when I get Madden is I go through the playbooks. I go through each one, I make my list, and I go, you know, 1 to 32, and I just figure it out from there. But if I had to make my selection for someone, I'm gonna go with Oracular from SML because he is a super nerd, and he's gonna one of his friends is like a dev too, and he gets the all those perks. And I'm sure he's game sharing with them already, so he's probably gonna have a couple games under his belt already.
Wait, what was his name?
Arcolar, RKOLAR.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
He
yeah,
game
yeah.
shares with one of his friends, and it's like I know he's probably playing it right now.
He's the Cardinals fan,
Yeah,
right?
so just ban him
I'll
from
get him
the
out.
tournament. It will be good.
Well, it'll be interesting. And I just like I said, I wanted to do this because we should have a place to kind of lab before, because I think a lot of leagues are ready to get going, and it's going to be kind of tough for people to just jump from not playing Madden into something competitive, but at the same time be able to lab the different teams and different playbooks. So
Yeah.
Um, so really excited for that. That drops as soon as EA Access drops. We're going to get that bracket going. My favorite thing about the tournament is that I don't need the entire first round guys to play before we move on. As long as the way the brackets work, the people around you play their games, then you can move on. So double elimination, like you said, we'll figure it out as we go. I just wanted to do it because the random teams. It would suck if you got the Dolphins, the Lions, Bills, and then you random team and you got like the Broncos, and you're just like, oh fuck me, and then you're out of the tournament. I didn't want that to be your thing. So, but maybe we don't have enough time. We'll figure it out.
No, we'll, we all have a fair chance at teams, and I don't think anyone's going to get stuck in a bad situation. So it should shake out pretty good, and it's good to get the, competitiveness going. I can't even talk competitiveness going, because it's been a couple months since we played meaningful games.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. So the hype is real. Figured we'd start it out with it. And maybe we do a couple of these per year, especially as the cycles kind of get low. This would be, maybe a little bit something to step away, get competitive, maybe get some cheese out, have a no rules tournament. That'd be fun. Or some weird challenge mini tournament. So we'll see how it rides. So.
Well, your in P-Town Super Bowl was almost a no rules game, so you guys.
Fucker. Jesus, it's somewhere. I'm gonna go back and watch it and see because we got slammed pretty bad for that. So.
It's all in good fun.
So let's move on to phase 2 of the show, which is the survey. So me and you spent some time, thought it'd be good to reach out to the league and kind of get their opinions. We do a lot of content and push out our opinions and kind of force that on everybody. So let's hear what the league had to say. So we put out a survey Sunday night with some questions about who they think were going to be the better teams, the Super Bowl winner, some of the most valuable players, the rookies of the year to look out for. And then you offered up the idea of asking some questions just to see what everybody's mindset is as the new cycle drops. So I figured we'll go through that. And that starts with the NFC champion. So we can see it, they can't, they being the listeners. But, I mean, clearing out, I think everybody's got Danny for the NFC championship. I mean, just here alone you have 6 and that named him as Danny, and then 2 more. So 8 out of our 13 guys say Danny NFC champion. And dude, I'm not surprised at all.
No, I mean we know what Danny's capable of, and he took the Giants team last year, and I mean playing him was just it was a pain because he'll make the right read majority of the time, and Saquon Barkley will break 15 tackles every play, and he finds himself with Alvin Kamara, and it's just going to be the same thing for everybody. But one of the most important things is 2 people voted for themselves for Super Bowl champion. I'm not going to say the names, but just, it's funny to see who thinks that highly of themselves and, who kind of shares the wealth a bit.
Oh, I mean, and Ty, did not name any names, is exactly who I would expect. But I think, I think the dark horse here for the NFC side is who is actually the second most voted. You voted for him, and Derek voted for him, and that being Willie. Willie is – I don't know how to stress this to Jordan, Crew, and the other guys enough. He will fuck us up if he's the Bears, and he gives a shit. Is he the greatest user that ever exists? No. But Willie as the Bears was a special kind of evil for basically 4 Maddens straight. You guys got the break Willie, who needed a refresher. So him coming back, I think you're buying into the hype a little bit. He just gives a shit. He's just way more in tune. I feel like you're just going to see Willie in chat way more. You're going to see articles and content coming from him. Like back in the day with his Bears, he was all over it. He took a 70 overall quarterback in like the 4th round, and the dude was a 99 in 2 seasons. Like Willie's a problem. So second favorite is Willie, and then you have 1 vote for the Packers that came from Danny, and then Troy went at Boom. So it looks like their little rivalry's over, and they're good buds now. And then Arlen voted himself as the NFC champion, which I love the confidence.
I mean, Arlen is a scientist, so he probably knows better than all of us. But, I mean, Pest has a good chance. Obviously, he's a great player. And to bring it back to Willie, I just want to state that he did offer me $35 for my team spot selection just so he could take the Bears. So the fact that the Bears fell all the way down to him, I mean, he's got his team. He was my vote. And he can go 14-2, but he also can go 6-10. It's one of those, we'll have to wait and see type things.
Yeah, Willie's the proponent of he's not a good drafter, I guess I could say. He's not the kind of guy. I think one cycle he took like 5 offensive linemen in the first 2 rounds of a draft, and then struggled heavily because he just has all these undevved offensive linemen that are like mid-70s. Yeah. So he's not the best drafter, but his defensive user is dangerous. So I'm really excited to see him back. But clear out, I think I agree with the rest of everybody in that Danny's going to be the favorite for the NFC. Now let's go over to the AFC side. I'm going to sort this here so it's a little bit easier to read. And no surprise, you as the Chiefs, with 5 votes for you, are the favorite. That being Pest, Boom, P-Town, Finn, and Derek. Now, some other ones, some steals. You said steal. Might take those Pittsburgh to glory. 2 votes for me. Appreciate the confidence. I think that's less of a confidence and more so I'm just going to coast through the division.
Well, if you get the first round bye every year, I mean, you only got to win what, 2 games to make
2
the Super
games.
Bowl?
For sure. So maybe it's just luck of the draw, not so much skill. You actually have another voted for you as well. So how do you feel about that? Do you feel like it's AFC Championship or bust for you? Do you feel like this team,
I
by
mean,
taking this team, you swore yourself to that fate?
I took the Chiefs, right? And you take the Chiefs to win. I didn't take a team to rebuild. I took a team that I have to, it's going to be balls to the wall every game. And um, I don't really know why I would get that many votes, to be perfectly honest, because I mean, I won 1 Super Bowl, Pest won a Super Bowl, B-Town won a Super Bowl, and, they're not really getting all these votes. I think a lot of, I don't want to say overhyped, but I don't think I've done enough to deserve 6 votes. You know what I mean? I feel like there's still so much more to prove, and I think I honestly played like crap a lot of the last couple of seasons in top. So there's a lot on my plate that I really need to kind of figure out and focus up for Madden 20. But I'm going to play a lot better this year.
Right, and I think you just picked a team that just kind of caters a lot to your strengths. You spent that whole cycle with Travis Kelce on your Saints, and now you have a younger, juiced Travis Kelce here. Obviously, you're way better off at quarterback, which might be a curse because you spent the entire cycle kind of going, okay, I'm limited to what Teddy can do. Now you're not limited in any capacity, so you might it's going to test your patience, right? That mental fortitude to not chuck it at Tyreek or
I'm going to
Nicole.
throw it early and often, and then I'm probably going to go for 2 as much as possible. Patrick
Right.
Mahomes' stats are so ridiculous. He's got like plus 95 on all his accuracy. It's just like, it's absurd. There's no reason for it.
Right. So, and I don't think I blame you because you picked 7th.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your fault.
Exactly.
So,
I was actually, and I went back and forth. I said, do I want to take the Chiefs? But I said, you know what? If anyone else was in my position, they would,
yeah.
because the league's
Yeah.
way too competitive for me to take, like the Jets, like, and
Mhm.
try to win with them. I don't, at the end of the day, it's Super Bowl. Like you said, Super Bowl or bust. So
Right. Right. For sure. And things aren't going to be pretty for you in a couple seasons. So you're betting on yourself early because once you have to pay Patty, it's a problem. You're going to be kind of stricken on cap. You're going to have to
yes.
make some tough decisions, especially in regards to guys like Watkins, even Kelsey. So you already lost, Houston and Barry and D Ford. So you're kind of rebuilding in terms of some of the defense. So
And
definitely a little
Chris Jones might get traded before the season. So
right. Right. So everybody's got Danny for the NFC. They've got you for the AFC. And when I looked at it, it was pretty split. I mean, you have 1, 2, 3 for Danny here, and you have 1, 2, 3 for you here. A couple other. I have a Super Bowl vote. Ty, does it count? You vote for yourself. I don't know.
um,
Steele.
sure.
JV voted for the Patriots. Danny voted the Packers. You said Willie. You said Willie beats Steele. I would love that matchup. I think 2 guys that are really talented users. I really like Willie and Steele, but I think more than likely it's going to be you and Danny. I don't think we have enough information to predict. You guys have had a couple really close games. One that came down to your linebacker missing the easiest user pick ever.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. That was depressing. I had the game won, and my guy just didn't do anything. But that's my, Madden 19 in a nutshell.
Right. So I think we'd be wasting our time and setting you up for failure if we try to predict who would win this Super Bowl.
For sure.
I think we'll let that be decided by you guys when you get there, and hopefully I do enough to not let you get there. We'll figure that out. So let's move on to the most valuable player, dominated by running backs last Madden, and the votes poured in for Alvin Kamara. I think everybody saw what happened with Saquon Barkley last cycle, but I disagree. And the reason I disagree is because of who Wout said would win the MVP, which is Drew Brees. The reason Saquon won is because that team was just not built to pass the ball. No offensive line, only one talented receiver after the Tyreek Hill trade, and he let Odell go. No quarterback. Like, of course he's going to run the ball 90 times with Saquon. So I don't know if Kamara gets that. I think he might be a little bit more balanced, which would open the door for number 2 most voted player for MVP, which is your boy, Patty Longchucks. What are your thoughts?
I mean, you're absolutely right with the Kamara thing. I mean, I think we all associate Danny and Saquon Barkley, but you're right. I mean, that offense has a potential. Drew Brees can throw 40 touchdowns, no problem. And Mahomes, obviously, you have to. No matter who got the Chiefs, you got to put Mahomes somewhere in there because he's the best quarterback in the game. So I mean, it's kind of on par with what you'd expect.
Right. And Danny's game has never been, I'm going to go into the cycle and run the ball against whoever. Danny's game is, I'm going to play smart football, and whatever it takes to beat this person, I'm going to beat this person.
Mm-hmm.
So we saw Saquon, but in the past, I mean, this guy was winning MVPs with Johnny Manziel. He knows how to throw the football. So I think they'll be a little too balanced. And he has some really tough defenses to deal with, as does your Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. So, but I mean, the only player that wasn't a Saint or a Chief that was voted for MVP was Tom Brady, and that was through Davey. So, I think there's a lot of hype on you and Danny as the first Super Bowl matchup, and if it's going to be number 1 most voted player for MVP against number 2. So, yeah, y'all better not disappoint, man. Better not schedule any trips halfway through the season and and not
that's
make.
if we get there. None of us. I mean, well, most of us haven't played the game, so you
Right.
know what? Anything can happen. Someone could suck at this game, and have been good at Madden 19 or vice versa. So we all got to play the game, and we all got to start from the same point. So we'll see how it shakes out.
And I missed one, actually. Russell Wilson had a vote from Troy. So Troy predicting Boom to win NFC Championship and Russell Wilson's MVP. I have a weird feeling he's just trying to throw bad juju on him after that trade last season, or last cycle. So let's move on. What were your thoughts with the AFC Offensive Rookie of the Year, and are you surprised with the result of
I mean,
who it is?
Hollywood Brown takes up eight eight spots, right?
I
I
forgot
mean,
about him. That's the only reason
eight
I
or
didn't vote for
nine.
him.
I mean, I'd like to. I give Derek credit for saying Josh Jacobs, but let's be real here. I mean, it's going to be Hollywood Brown, barring injury. Jordan's just too good of a player, and he's just going to force him the ball with Lamar Jackson. I don't see Drew Lock or Camille Harry having really a chance. Davey's not a passer. He's not going to. That's not going to happen. It's going to be Hollywood Brown, and I really don't see anyone else that can really compete with that.
This is where I was concerned about Hollywood Brown. Obviously, if I had remembered his name, I probably would have voted for him anyways. Just because he's the most dynamic out of this list. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? 97 speed is no joke. But Jordan's game with receivers, especially against the cover 3 whores of the league, is curls and digs and comebacks.
That's true.
And those routes are not yak routes. Now, he was running those on Mike Evans, which makes a lot of sense, and he ran it with the Colts the cycle before, which he didn't really have any talented receivers. He didn't have a playmaker like Brown, so that's not fair to limit Jordan to that. But the division is also full of killers. We got P-Town, we got Steele, and then, even if you had a tough defense or, an easier user in Shrimp, you got Denzel Ward to worry about, who can match Brown stride for stride. So that's the only thing I could say is possible, concern for Hollywood. But nonetheless, depending on what his non-conference schedule looks like, he might just go off against everybody. And you're right, Jordan is a very talented user, but he didn't throw the ball well necessarily last cycle. But actually, if you look at the Hall of Fame, I think Mike Evans was up there in some of the highest yardage over the whole cycle. So I think I agree with these folks. Now let's go to the Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think just with the nature of user Madden leagues, everybody saw the linebacker being the position that would most shine, and Devin Bush with his 92 speed.
91, but yeah, I mean, Devin Bush is going to, Steele's a good player. Devin Bush is going to come in, and I mean, it's all about opportunity, right? A defensive tackler, defensive end might be difficult to get, big sack totals, but you can easily get, a ton of user picks and a couple, pick sixes or, even sacks with the middle linebacker. So Devin Bush, I think, is the pick there.
Right. And second place is Quinnen Williams. I mean, Troy's talented, but he physically isn't going to do anything to make Quinnen Williams better because he's not going to user him. And there wasn't anything. I don't think I've seen a user here who could scheme a defensive tackle open. Either they're dominant inside like Aaron Donald, or they're not. So
I agree with that.
we'll have to see. I don't know. Not that Williams can't win it, but compared to Devin Bush, he's probably going to rack up double-digit interceptions. It might be tough. Let's go to the NFC Rookie of the Year. This one's kind of a dead tie between Kyler Murray and DK Metcalf. So why don't I got to go dig my daughter's arm out of a freaking drawer. So talk a little bit about these two rookies.
Sure. I mean, we know what Metcalf can do. He comes in, I think he's like 95 speed or something absolutely ridiculous. And between him and Kyler Murray, I mean, it could go either way. It really depends on who has the best year. And if you look at the users, let me pull up the
you know who it is? It's Boom and Saran.
So Saran with Kyler Murray, I mean, that offense, I mean, there's no offensive line. There's Andy Isabella and Christian Kirk and David Johnson. So Kyler Murray has a chance, but I don't know if he's going to actually put up the numbers needed when you have DK Metcalf. I mean, Boom's a good player. All he has to do is just force a couple jump balls and, walk away with the, NFC Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Right. And I think I'm trying to think back to Saran, who wasn't really fed the best quarterback situation. So it's a little unfair to look at those stats from last cycle and apply them here. But
he also plays very, very straightforward. Like he's not going to have a ton of rushing yards or rushing attempts. So it's just going to be, by Kyler Murray's arm, not his legs.
Interesting. Yeah. If he doesn't play to the strengths, then he may be in trouble. But the counter is if a team focuses on DK, then I don't know how much, because at the end of the day, he's big and tall, but he's not Megatron yet. So he is stoppable. So it's just going to be, I think the big factor is how dominant is a 70 overall rookie, really, regardless of how physically talented he is. Because really the best receiver on that team by far is Lockett.
And for sure. Yeah, Lockett's a beast.
I just said Metcalf to take two people, send Lockett on the late crossing route, and then that's where you'll see a lot of the yards get eaten up. But other votes being Dwayne Haskins, Grid ran the ball a ton last cycle, so I don't know. And then Sanders, Miles Sanders there, and that vote, of course, was Ty voting for his Eagles back. Donnie ran well with Naheem Hines last cycle, but I don't know. I don't know if Miles Sanders is going to have the juice, but he's the only running back in the group, and he is going to get a lot of touches. And there's not really any other running backs on that team. Jordan Howard maybe, but Sanders is probably going to be used in depth.
Yeah.
Defensive Rookie of the Year, Nick Bosa. Number 2 pick. I think he just kind of gets forgotten quite a bit. A couple votes for Devin White as well. It all depends on what Flex decides to do. If he does what he did with Miles Jack, then we're going to see Devin White at defensive end for no fucking reason. And then Brian Burns. A couple of votes for Brian Burns, the FSU pass rusher that's in Carolina. So edge rush, it seems to be the thing. Gary, Sweat, Bosa, Burns all have votes. I think Bosa's the clear favorite, and Dan's defense was no fucking joke.
No, I agree. I mean, it's if you look at the Rookie of the Years and then you look at the owners, Brian Burns is a great player. I mean, I think but starts with 76 finesse move. So even though he's got the speed and acceleration, how often is he going to get after the quarterback, and how often can Wout really make that happen? Devin White, again, he could do very well, but Flex is just a complete wild card, so I have no clue about him. And Nick Bosa can just get 12 sacks and be on his way. It's not going to take anything too crazy, because I think with the rookies being rated lower, we're not going to see such an immediate impact with all of them, and it's going to take some time to build these guys up through progression.
Right. And once again, it all kind of depends on what supporting cast can open up an edge rusher to help out. And I think the edge rush situation for a guy like Bosa, he's a little bit more well off than a guy like Burns, right? Bosa's got Buckner, D Ford, who are all going to command extra attention. So if Bosa can consistently get matchups with shitty right tackles, and I don't know if you saw too much of the ratings, but across the board, the offensive line is still garbage compared to defensive line. So
it's insane. I mean, you're having offensive linemen in the 60s, but all, the worst defensive, 4-man front you're going to go against is like a 75. So it's like they're overpowered every step of the way, unless you got one of those teams with an elite offensive line, but not many people have that, advantage right now.
Gotcha. So Nick Bosa and DK Metcalf, the clear favorites for the NFC Rookies of the Year. So the next thing, I guess I didn't specify well enough. In my mind, it was what was the best user. What user was going to have the best regular season record. But a couple of the folks putting in votes put in records like, oh, they thought a team would go 16-0 or 13-1.
So to interrupt you real quick, I think we can kind of go skip this and go to the worst regular season because this is so funny. Just to see who people think is the absolute worst person.
Well, you stole my thunder. This was the only category I won.
All right. Coming in, Finn.
Actually, me and you, right? Me and you. I think me.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm better. It's just look at the record. But here's the deal: I play your division and I play the South, the NFC South. So it may not be me. Danny's got to vote, but you're right. Clear out worst user in the league, voted by half the league, is G Money. 1 in 15.
He got the last pick, and he's the worst. Worst person.
No surprise that – I mean, I'm surprised the Broncos fell to him. I think he wins more than, more games than Corey because of Von Miller alone. Like, Von Miller is going to win a game on his fucking own.
No, you're right. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen G Money in chat, but, for his sake, maybe he'll win a couple of games.
You know where he lives, right? The dude's in the Philippines.
Really?
Yeah, dude, he lives in the Philippines. He's like, it's either the Philippines or Guam. And the point is he's not, if he's not dealing with bad play, he's dealing with bad latency.
Jeez.
So, and if it's not going to be G Money, it's going to be Corey. The only user I remember going 0-16 last cycle, or did he get a win and he almost went 0? Either way, it wasn't pretty. But like Willie, Corey is back to his favorite team. So
bless his heart for taking the Bills because someone had to, and it's good that he didn't follow and just take the best team available. He just he likes the Bills. That's his squad, and he's I commend him for that.
Right. Always respect it, especially early, right?
Yep.
That early in the draft, because I'm pretty sure they would have dropped really fucking far.
They would. So, they'd still be available right now.
Like just empty team for the whole cycle. Never gets picked. Jesus. Who's your favorite CM? Danny wins right out with 5 votes. I think Danny wins. Second place is a tie for Corey at 3, and Pest with 3. I want to say Ty probably voted for himself. Yep, Ty voted for himself. And then Wout gets 1 vote. And Wout, I believe it's Boom that voted for Wout. Yep, yes, it was. So congratulations to Danny, everybody's favorite CM as voted by the league. Not much to say there. I think Danny's just really quiet, so he doesn't get in too many fights. He throws a little shade here and there, but for the most part, Danny's pretty likable.
It's a good group of guys. I mean, everyone kind of has their own role except for Wout, who really doesn't do anything. But outside of him, everyone else really, it's not all on Pest's shoulders. It's not all on Danny's shoulders. Everyone contributes, and it's good to have more than one person in charge and kind of have a level-headed discussion about issues or rules or things that need to be changed. And we have a good group of people there.
Oh, for sure. I love those guys. I wouldn't have met up with them and risked getting jumped in public in Nashville if I didn't like them. Who was your favorite non-CM user? Not a lot of repeats here. A couple votes for Lynx and Northwest. And Cool D got a vote. I got a vote, but I'm in horrible company. So I am a little upset at Troy voting for Arlen. I'm taking that to heart. I mean, I didn't vote for Troy as my favorite user, but I really felt like he should have voted for me. Kyle did vote for me, and I tagged him in chat, and I said, "You're my favorite too." And then he was just like, "What?" So I think he may have just been fucking around.
Cool D and Lynx, both gang of votes. That's the best thing.
Jeez, I don't even know. Davey Boom got a tie. And I don't know by who. So, and then Wilt says he loves all of his children. So, whatever. And then the last 3 questions, something you suggested, was just kind of get an insight of what these guys are going to do. So, of course, most of them took it as a joke, but nonetheless, we got a couple serious ones. So, what new feature are you looking forward to the most? I said pump fake. I think it's going to be such a huge thing that I think that a lot of people are going to forget about. And then just see it on stream one time as somebody pump fake the shit out of a user and then get a wide open post or seam route. And then everybody's going to be like, oh, shit, that got added to the game. Ball trajectory seems to be everybody's favorite. What did you put? Trying to see what you put. Oh, you're second here at the top.
Where am I?
Rosters. Really?
This is pre-roster release. I guess if I had to change it right now, I might just go with like not really feature, but just how fluid the game is now. And seeing all the Madden 20 videos, you kind of see how the game just feels complete. Like Madden 19 felt very incomplete, and it felt like guys just hit into each other and flopped all over the place. But I really think it's very, very smooth now. And it's a complete version of the game. Madden 19 was just, I don't even know.
Yeah. I thought Madden 18 was better than 19, and 18 was fucking brutally bad.
Yeah,
so.
you're not wrong on either of those accounts.
So I think all the new features, and you can tell EA gives a shit because they're releasing way more stuff than we did before. So they're excited, which means it's going to be a better game. And of course, Boom's the game not being inconsistent as hell. Like Boom is the best.
Yeah, great contribution by Boom. But also, I want to touch on the pump fake real quick, which you mentioned on. And I think it's going to be one of those features that a lot of people are not going to even test out, and they're just going to ignore it. But there's going to be a point in the time where it's going to come in very handy, and I think it's going to be what kind of separates certain people from each other. If you're in a tight situation, you're able to just make that one play because of a pump fake, then there's no reason not to learn it.
Yeah, it's just another level. It's another level to the game. It's a skill gap, folks. And
Yes.
That's what I was so excited about, which is it's there. It's not required to use. But those who do use it and get really good at it. Now, what I do need, I've tried talking to some of the guys about is like if there's a double move so if there's like a slant and go and you pump fake on the slant, if you use the pump fake feature, it sends it doesn't recognize that you're faking the slant because it's a double move. So the little reticle doesn't come up where a slant would come up. It goes where the go would have been. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I mean, it's pretty much there to fake out the user and the user only, right?
Well, I need it to like like that reticle pops up. But say I'm running a slant and a sluggo, right? When I would pump fake the slant to trick the user, right? I want that little reticle to show up where the slant route would be, correct? Like if I was throwing the slant.
No, I understand your point. You're absolutely right, but I just don't think it's a lot to ask for. They just put it not back in the game, but they just actually touched on it a bit.
Yeah.
And I mean, if that was possible, I mean, that's the purpose of pump faking the slant. It's
right
for the double. You're right, but it's not going to be implemented the way
so
I think that you
just
really want.
it's just something for everybody to remember is that it's going to give away that a double move or that it's a double move. So maybe don't pump fake it, let the route do the trick, or don't fucking do it, and then I'll know you're running a double move. Great. I shouldn't have. I probably should have just fucking
Just run Zona slot out all game and just win a Super Bowl.
What was the other thing that I gave away? Do you know about the blitzing glitch? When
you told me that last.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said anything. All right. Anyways, what game mode will you play first? You got one vote for face of the franchise. I was excited about it until I saw that you can't even do combine drills. So
it's incomplete. It's just an incomplete thing they're using to sell the game. It's after the initial sequence of the college and getting drafted. I feel like it's just going to be the most boring mode possible.
It looks pretty plain from the 2 hours that I watched of it today. I mean, it looked a little fun, but it didn't look challenging. It looked like when you play the college football stuff, like they catch everything. Like it's just meant to be juiced. So I wish it was a little bit more challenging. I wish there was a little bit more. You're an instant starter on the team instead of like working your way up. So I'd hate to like get drafted by the Patriots and just instantly start over Tom Brady. Like that'd be unrealistic. So I think it lives somewhere between useless and long shot.
Yeah. Long shot was so bad. I tried it on 19, and it was like 15 or 20 minutes of like a dude playing a guitar.
Oh, God.
Like, all right, we're done.
The dude from Friday Night Lights, right?
Yeah, it was the worst thing ever. Like, it's a movie.
I just can't believe they wasted development time doing that. So I'm glad.
I can't believe.
I mean, I can't believe somebody sat in a meeting and pitched that, and then
It's true.
The other people in the meeting said that sounds fucking phenomenal, and then they carried it out. Anyways, face of the franchise. That's that. Online head-to-head seems to be the main thing, and hopefully, and this was before I had announced the tournament, so hopefully the tournament will be that everybody's ability to grab it and get their feet wet. So, and then a couple skills trainer guys, a couple offline CFM guys. So, and then finally, how are you going to prepare for the season 1 of Top Madden? This is what I was interested in to kind of see how people would prepare. Davies preparing with dank memes and crippling depression. Looks like Danny and Kyle are going to be headed in. They're going to be in California hanging out and jerking each other off, so they'll probably play some Madden in between those sessions. Docking. So who said docking? Looks like somebody's going to be joining them. Harlan's docking. All right. So no serious answers. Banging Saran's sister. So thanks, guys.
Everyone's such an idiot. Oh my God. There's like 2 serious answers and then girl cry probably.
Will cry. Learn how to pass the ball. Skills trainer. Who's this? This is probably you.
Nah.
This is Pest. Thank you, Pest, for giving a real answer and not by playing. Jesus Christ. So that's the survey. Thanks to the 13 folks who filled it out. The 14th person, Lance, trying to pull a fast one on us. We knew about it. So let's move on to the last thing, which is our initial reactions. Not initial reactions, but team selection. So we'll start with the AFC. And obviously there's been a lot of articles and everybody's over the shock factor, of you as the Chiefs. And let's talk a little bit about your favorite users, what guys that you might be paying attention to throughout the season.
I mean, I think we all know the AFC North is the most stacked division. And when that was announced and you saw each team, get put, each user get put, in that division, you're just like, I hope I'm not next. Like you're looking through your list and saying, oh, I hope I didn't pick the Bengals,
right.
And just your name would show up. We know that they're just gonna beat each other to death. And God bless you, Shrimp. You got the first pick, but you're about to get screwed. He's so dead.
Like, it's just salt in the wound, right? Like, Shrimp, congrats. You get your Browns. It's going to be a great cycle for you. Also, look at your fucking division mates.
I'm mostly, I had my eye on, I think, the Jets and Troy. Troy can make that team, a Super Bowl contender, or he can just, crap the bed. But I think he's got a team he's really comfortable with and, really looking to, make some noise early on.
Yeah, him and Davey is going to be a good battle. Kyle, another guy that a couple cycles ago was regularly a playoff guy. So if he can get back in stride, it'll be fun. Corey will be good solely for entertainment value for the first quarter and a half, and then you'll cut his stream off. The South, there's not much to say. Now, I will say in SML, Isias or Isaias or whatever he goes by, seems a little bit more hyped in that league. He did have a winning season as the Vikings last cycle. So obviously we make that joke that I had the easiest division, but I feel like he might give me some fits. So I'm excited to play somebody.
Is he the dude that runs cover 6 all the time? Because I think I played him last year. He was the Vikings. He ran cover 6 and locked me up, and I was so confused.
Dan runs cover 6 and cover 9 out of wide 4-3, and I'm just like, how the fuck does this work?
That's him. Yeah. He's actually. I mean, he's going to be your competition, and he might surprise. And I mean, to sneak in a wild card though, you're really going to hope the AFC North just completely dominates each other or something, because the wild card's going to be almost impossible to get into.
Right. And then out in West, I think everybody understands that it's going to be you and Ty duking it out. Derek. Ty's another weird one where this is only the second cycle he's ever not been the Eagles. So I don't know where his give a shit levels are. They obviously went off the rails when he was in Chicago and he just traded the farm for Josh Allen and folks. But
how was he last year? I don't remember his record. How he did.
So he pretty much, I think he only lost the division one time. He got pretty far in the playoffs once or twice. Yeah, he didn't have the greatest cycle. He didn't really build that team up well at all. And then when he got Carrington and Josh Allen, he was just like, well, fuck this. I'm sending them deep. So, I don't think he ever went further than the second or third round of the playoffs. I don't think he ever made it to the championship games. So
okay, I mean the Chargers are stacked. Their team is just if you're on offense, you have to avoid 4 people because they're all just going to kill you.
Right, and I think the better the game is, the better like the Madden itself is, the more he cares about it. So I feel like with this cycle being a little bit more for the football savvy guys, I think Ty is going to be a little bit more excited. Very defensive minded guy, has a good feel. His cover two is really good. And then he gets he's not quite at that level in the passing game as guys like you and Danny in terms of just not making mistakes. But make no fear, he can't throw the football and he makes good reads. He's just not as patient as everybody. So sometimes he can take the bait, and that's mainly because he plays with wine while drinking wine. So let's get over to the NFC, and then we'll finish up here. Bam, bam! I got my daughter in the lap. How you doing? Who do you think's gonna win? Not the Texans. Fuck you. All right. own blood, bro. My own blood.
It'd be your own people.
All right. So the North. Another person in SML that everybody was kind of hyping. Some people said he was a favorite. Now that's because he has the Browns, but that's being Arlen, who's got the Vikings here. Willie back to his Browns. So this is, I mean, the North divisions on both sides. We've talked about this before. Pretty stacked.
Who's Tony?
Tony. Tony's been here forever, dude. Tony's been here since Madden 16.
He was in the league last year?
Dude, Tony's been in the league forever, dude. Yeah.
What team was he?
Raiders. He was Montana. Tony.
Okay.
So yeah, he was like, "Who the fuck is this Tony guy?" Tony used to be really like stayed in the chat all the time, really laid back guy. And then I took a break in 17, and when I came back, he was the Raiders. He's been the Raiders since, and he really doesn't hang out in chat too much. Was kind of a bottom feeder user back in 16, and then he figured out how to use our linebacker. And then he started kind of having these 8-8 seasons, a couple 9-7 seasons, made the playoffs once or twice. So he's not horrible. I don't think he's going to compete at all with that roster and with those guys in that division. But
that division is low key, one of the toughest. I mean, Arlen, Willie, and Pest all can make the playoffs. It's like that type of division where like you have, Willie's my favorite, to go to the Super Bowl. But if I didn't pick him, it could be any of these three, to win the division.
Right. Me and Arlen tend to get into it in chat every once in a while, but being objective, I've only played him once, and that was with his Dolphins rebuild team. So that's not really fair. So I'm excited to see what he can do with two stupid receivers in Thielen and Diggs. So extremely, that's the dark horse team. If there is one, it is Arlen. So however well he can get adjusted. He has a good defense, a little underrated. Danielle Hunter isn't as high ranked as many people thought in terms of the ratings. So we'll see. Another dark horse lives in the South, and that's Allen B with the Falcons. Obviously, we got Danny, the Super Bowl favorite, voted by the league. Flex, the wild card user of them all. And then Woe. So I know nobody's seen Allen play. I don't think he wins the division for season one, but I do think Allen wins the division at some point this cycle. It's bold news, bold takes for you.
Allen probably better than anyone. He's your guy. So, I mean, if you look at the rest of the NFC, it's not, outside of the North, there's no real killer division. So all he has to do is make the playoffs as a wild card, and he has a chance as good as anybody.
Right. I think he just needs to kind of get adjusted. He's played in some leagues that I popped into and promptly got out because they're just not well run. They're very cheesy. But he's a football nerd as well. He thrives on his defense. He thinks he's got some mad defensive schemes, and he's got the defense to do it with Keanu Neal and Deion Jones. So excited to see that. The NFC East, probably this is going to be that division that everybody goes, why is this person in the playoffs? No, I don't want to be completely disrespectful. I think Donnie ends up like steamrolling this division multiple times throughout the cycle. But this will be the guy that like when you get into the wild card and then you play one of these three or one of these four as your third seed game, you're just like, oh yeah, all right, cool, I got an easy advance. Like,
yeah, that's when you make the you're watching the playoffs and you hope that this guy wins so you get to play the other guy or type of thing. Right. That's exactly what it is.
Like I get Grid, fuck yeah.
Yeah, that division. I mean, to me, Grid, Slim, and Donnie are the same person. Like I don't even know the difference, to be honest. And Blue is just completely. He's like I don't even know how he doesn't fit in that division at all. He's nothing like anybody else. So
Right.
I honestly think Blue. I mean, he's young and he's probably got some good motor skills. So I think he's actually going to compete. Even with the Giants, who might not be have the best roster.
Right. So, Grid, in case you didn't hear that, we're predicting you to lose to somebody solely based on the fact that he has good motor skills. That's how, that's how deep we're going to get to this division is who
Blue
has the
doesn't
best
have a
motor
job.
skills? Oh, Blue, because he's young. Okay, him.
He doesn't have a job. He doesn't go to school. Like, what else is he gonna do? He's just gonna play this game nonstop and be one of those like super nerds.
Hey,
So
that was Danny, bro. When Danny was Blue's age, he went an entire cycle without losing. So don't sleep on the young guns. And then the final division, Saran and Boom, we talked about the young, exciting rookies. I think Boom's going to edge out in terms of production just because he's got a little bit better of a defense. Most complete team, though, is Mindfire. Just all around stacked in terms of just talent placed everywhere. X Factor Richard Sherman, Nick Bosa we talked about. If they did up Marquise Goodwin's speed to 98, that's a problem. And then Nano with the Rams, a guy that ran the ball extremely well with nobodies for the Steelers. So he's got Todd Gurley and Aaron Donald. So what are your thoughts on the West?
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but these are 4 playoff teams from last year, right?
I know that Saran and Nano each went to a playoff. They were in the same division. Dan peaked in. Yep. So they've all made playoffs at some point.
That's going to be interesting. I mean, that could be one of those. All 4 of them go like 9-7 or 8-8 or whatever, and one of them just gets in.
Right. Boom's the only one who dominated his division, though. Whereas Mindfire, Saran, and Nano all got in via wild card because P-Town was winning the South with Dan being the Texans, and then these two obviously had to deal with Pest and Willie. So
Yeah.
I think Boom's got the experience to just kind of like be the top dog. He's just got that mentality, and he's got some really talent. He's probably got the best quarterback in the division out of the 4 teams. So I think that's going to fall in huge for him. So, we had some water, dude. We just talked for like an hour. So.
I know. My wife's probably like, "What are you doing?"
Oh, I get judged hardcore anytime I do any of these things. But
whatever. She watches all these crappy shows on Netflix, so
yeah, we're doing the same exact thing. We're wasting our days away looking at a screen. It's all the same.
exactly.
So, all right, bro. Thanks for joining. Thanks for talking. Excited to get this tournament going. Excited to get Madden going. The hype is there. That's why we're talking about it. So.
For sure, dude. Thanks for having me. I'm excited for first of all to be in the league. When I joined, I know there's a big wait list, and I was the first waitlister to be in the chat, and I wasn't booted. So I kind of made big strides last season from waitlister to where I am now. So I'm excited for the season, and hopefully the game pans out and they don't patch it too much.
Oh, just don't touch it. That's all.
Yeah.
I agree with you. All right, guys. Well, that's it for this week's episode. We're going to try to get this out weekly. They may be a little bit shorter. That way we don't feel so worn out repeating the same topics. I think the next one we should get a little bit closer to the league being revealed. I think we could sit down and talk a little bit about the week 1 matchups. We got some really fucking good ones. I play Danny. So out the gate, going to have some competition and some fun games to watch on stream. So thanks for joining me, bro. And that'll be all for this time.
See ya.